Tonight's bold accusation: Jodi is a danger to society. Tonight, 12 jurors here in studio, and you, our online jury at home, will decide if Jodi Arias is guilty or not guilty of being a danger to society. Now, the defense says Jodi is a victim of domestic abuse and only killed Travis Alexander to save her own life. But tonight, I'll prove to you, our online jury at home, and our in-studio jury, that Jodi is a danger to society. You will hear from the prosecution psychologist, and I have my own expert that I have here tonight. I'll also let you listen to the words of Jodi Arias herself, which demonstrate just how dangerous she actually is.
These things are exceedingly difficult to predict. I think we can easily point to, say, someone like O.J. Simpson and say, well, when someone has criminal sorts of behavior, they are likely to act out again, and that generally is true. On the other hand, you've got somebody like Casey Anthony out there whom we haven't heard from in quite some time. So it's not necessarily the case that she would cause more trouble from a criminal standpoint. However, from the standpoint of her borderline personality, which has been discussed at length in court, those people do almost always create a lot of interpersonal chaos and trouble. They get better as they age, towards 40 and 50 years of age, so things actually might get better as she gets older. But beyond that borderline issue, we've been speculating that she has some psychopathy as well. And if indeed that's true, we would hear from her again.
Jodi is a danger to society. That's tonight's bold accusation, and that's one that Vinny Politan is very anxious for the prosecution to prove. So let him begin that proof. He's standing by at the HLNTV.com evidence room. Vinny?
Thanks so much, Joey. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, first let me introduce Dr. Daniela Schreier. She's a psychologist who's going to help me out tonight. Now, to understand how dangerous Jodi is, let me begin by introducing you to a couple of friends of Travis Alexander who got to interact with Jodi Arias. Take a listen to what they said and the vibe that they got from this killer.
We don't like Jodi coming over to our home. We feel very uncomfortable with her. Well, they're having this conversation trying to convince Travis to break up with her. She is right outside the upstairs door listening to the whole conversation. And she walked in and she just had this face on like she was the devil and she was going to commit a murder right then and there.
She thought you were cheating with Travis at one point and cornered you in the bathroom.
She was always creepy. She gave me a really eerie feeling, something I've never felt before.
All right, now let's talk about people who have gotten away with killing other people or people that have disappeared in their lives. Drew Peterson. His wife disappears, then he gets convicted for killing another wife. Lynn Turner, one husband dies of poisoning, a second husband dies of poisoning. She wasn't arrested the first time, got arrested after the second one passed away. Aaron Vandersloot, you know his story, Natalie Holloway, and then what happened in South America. Dr. Danielle, what happens when someone gets away with it or someone kills someone and is not prosecuted?
Well, it means you're pushing the boundaries even more next time, Vinny, right? You get away with it, you have some narcissistic tendencies, I'm grandiose, I can do whatever I want. Let me try that again. How far can I go?
Okay, now let's talk more about Jodi Arias herself. She is callous, ladies and gentlemen. Here's her mugshot, Dr. Daniela. Here she is in the interrogation room when she's being arrested for the murder of Travis Alexander, doing a headstand. Tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what that tells you.
Well, it means it's very inappropriate in that situation. Generally, you would be anxious. You're having a mugshot taken. You're not there smiling. And what she tells later on, well, I think Travis would have approved of that. There was nothing wrong with it. She doesn't even feel guilty about it.
No guilt, no remorse, no feeling. It's callousness. The last one, sadistic. These are all the blunt force trauma injuries she got on her legs. Travis Alexander got on his legs from Jodi Arias. How does that happen? Stomping or hitting him with something. Why was she doing that? She was stabbing and shooting him. That's one indication. And finally, I want to leave you with Jodi Arias' own words. Listen closely to this.
Is there any way I can see some of those photos? What is it that you're trying to piece together? I don't know. There's also a bit of morbid curiosity, I think.
Morbid curiosity, Jodi Arias' words.
Even if I say I believe that she was manipulative at that time, it doesn't mean I believe as a characteristic that she is. I could believe that she was manipulative at that time. It does not, it's situational. It doesn't mean that I believe, as a characteristic of Miss Arias, that she's a manipulative person.
Please distinguish between being a danger to one member of society and being a danger to society at large. They are two entirely different things. And we just heard the expert say in that soundbite that introduced this section that this was situational. And if you think about Jodi Arias, put aside all the speculation from everybody else, what she might do, what she might not do. Here's the facts. Jodi Arias was 28 years old at the time she was arrested. She had never been in trouble with the law before, ever. She had had relationships that were highly functioning. She held down jobs. She was a member of society that was not running afoul. So the idea that now she would be a danger to anybody other than Travis Alexander is just fanciful speculation, nothing more. Please don't fall for that.
Okay, now Holly Hughes wants me, ladies and gentlemen, to show you some sound of a case she believes is quite similar. Someone who killed their husband got back out and was just fine. Take a listen.
Just like to dress up.
Dress up?
Yes, sir.
Dress up for what purpose, Mary?
Sex.
Sex.
Just skirts or something slutty.
He wanted me to wear the boys' underwear and have anal sex. He wanted me to perform oral sex on him in his office while he was wearing those suits.
Did he ever ask you to engage in any type of sex that you felt was unnatural?
Yes, sir.
Driving my and hard into you.
I kind of felt like a prostitute, sort of.
Do you remember ever pulling the trigger?
No, sir. Something went off.
And I didn't even know that I shot him. It just went off.
Holly Hughes believes there's some similarities there. And Holly, explain what you mean.
Good evening, members of the jury. I am going to ask you to dig deep with me tonight. This was a horrible killing. It was tragic. Nobody is blaming the victim here. But this is a very narrow, bold accusation. She is a danger to society. I don't think there's anybody sitting here who believes she's a danger to grandmas or kids, right? They're part of society. So it's a very, very broad, bold accusation. And it's too broad. We just saw Mary Winkler. This case is so alike this one. You have a very religious man, very well known in his community. Mary Winkler's husband was a preacher. His name was Matthew. He was very well loved, and nobody knew about these deviant sex acts. Nobody knew about the dressing up. Nobody knew about any of that. And when she killed him, she got out because she was convicted on a much lesser charge. And let me tell you, it wasn't just the defense that believed her, guys. The most important takeaway here is the judge returned custody of her children to her. He did not think she was a danger to society. We have parallels here.
All right. Now, the defense also, ladies and gentlemen, has an expert witness that they want you to hear from. He's Dr. Jeffrey Gardier. He's out of New York, and you'll hear from him now. Now, doctor, how are you? Good evening.
Good to see you, my friend.
And good to see you. Doctor, let me ask you, if you could address that very question, could you address the question as to whether or not Jodi Arias is a danger to society?
I believe that Jodi Arias is not a danger to society. Darren is absolutely correct that she is a danger or was a danger to one particular person. Whether you want to believe that it was self-defense or whether it was overkill, which I think we all agree, the fact of the matter was this was a crime of passion. This is a woman with a severe personality disorder, got into a relationship which was very destructive, and we could say that this, in fact, was all of the wrong things were going on, the perfect storm, if you will. A woman with a histrionic or borderline personality, has very low self-esteem, gets into a relationship that is just very, very difficult for anyone to be in, and she reacted in a way that was inexcusable, but certainly part of a personality disorder.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've reached a verdict, is that right? Yes. Okay, we're going to take that verdict now, starting with juror number 1. What say you? Guilty, juror 2. Guilty, juror 3. Guilty, juror 4. Guilty, juror 5. Guilty, juror 6. Not guilty, juror 7. Guilty, juror 8. Guilty, juror 9. Guilty, juror 10. Not guilty, juror 11. Guilty, juror 12. Guilty. I want to go right to you, juror 6.
Jodi, can I jump in?
Of course.
What do you notice when you look here? Two men. The ones who are in most danger are the ones who are saying not guilty. You got to talk to them.
Well, let's see about that. What say you, juror 6?
I think if she gets away with it, she's going to be too selfish to want to put herself in that situation again. She's just going to crawl back in the ground.
Aha. Now, I have to go to you, juror 10, based on Vinnie Politan's comment about men.
No, she's not going to crawl in a hole. She's just going to go out and do all the TV stations. She's going to get a great deal on a book for $2 million and then, you know, be very famous. And she's going to be happy and get some guys and maybe some women. Who knows?
Okay.
You know.